Big ol' Mike Russell, here we go. Ooh, there we go. Hey guys, Mishka here. Another video, probably the most requested one so far, is how to make money in Orbus, how to make a whole bunch of Dram. There's a couple methods you can do. The way that I do it has gotten me, as you see, about 4.1 million right here, and I've got another 2 or 3 on my alternate character. So let's go over the different ways to make Dram, what's most efficient, and what's going to be best for your playstyle. So there's 2 ways to make Dram. There's with trading with other players and not trading with other players. So we're going to start on the not dealing with other players. So you just kind of want to make Dram without dealing with trading and whatnot. Really, there's 3 ways of doing it. One is to do missions. Whenever you do missions, you get little reward caches. Actually, I can show you. I've got some to turn in right now. So let's see what happens when I turn in a mission. We'll see how much Dram we make. Zoom. And we're going to turn the volumes down. So if you do a bunch of missions, you can turn them in. It'll make you a little bit of Dram. Let's see how much though. So we can go over here. Let's turn in a gold reward mission. We make 500 Dram. We turn in a bronze reward, we get 300 Dram. So I'm guessing silver is probably 400. So you get 5 mission credits per day. If you do those 5, that'll get you 2,500 Dram a day just for doing your missions and completing them to gold reward. So that's the first way of doing it. The other 2 ways are to do dungeons. So you got your 4 dungeons in high step, and you've got the temple and the mines out and about. When you do your dungeons, monsters can and will drop bags of loot, and those loot can contain up to like 600 or 700 Dram per bag. So you can get a decent amount there if you feel like being the dungeon kind of guy. So you got missions, you got dungeons, and the last way, and probably the most inefficient way of getting Dram, is just farming monsters. Just killing them over and over. They're not going to drop much Dram. It's inefficient. You're not going to make much money. So the second way, in my opinion, best way to make money in this game is dealing with other players, trading with them. So there's really, again, 3 ways that you can do this. You can trade person to person. If you have, let's say 4 Linstanium, and you got somebody who's asking around town for Linstanium, you'd be like, oh, I've got some, let me just sell it to you. Boom, face to face, nice, quick and easy, you made money. The second way of doing it is by the auction house. So right over here in your player house, you have the auction room. In the auction room, you've got this chest with 12 slots in it, and you can put stuff up. So let's say I got pine cones, right? I've got pine cones here. Let's say for, 2 of them? Yeah, so for 2 of them, I'm going to say bidding starts at 200 Dram, or if you just want to buy them right out, 400. Post. This is the auctioneer guy. You can search a whole bunch of stuff on him, basically just about everything in the game. Where are pine cones? I never actually look for pine cones because I've got so many of them. Here we go, pine cones. I look for pine cones. Look at that. Mishka is selling 2. The auction house lets you sell things for 3 days, so they're for 72 hours. You can bid over 200, or you can just buy them for 400. Now, something to note with the auction house is that there is a 2% fee. So whatever number you see here, factor in an additional 2%. That's important to note. There are some people who will try to undercut other people by just a few Dram. Just be aware you are paying an additional 2% anytime you buy from the auction house screen. So that's the second way. The third way, and probably the most efficient way, is to sell using market stalls. So market stalls, you've probably seen them if you're running around high step. There are 10 of them currently, and there are rumors that the devs are going to be adding more in the future. So the market stalls are all downstairs in the lower level of high step. There are these things over here. That'll stall right there. This is my stall, the one right next to the player house. You wave at them, and they've got goods to sell. These goods are all supplied by the players, by the player that owns the stall. So for instance, stall 8, that's mine. This is the little chest. These are all the stuff that I've put in it, and then I can set the price here. There are no fees from when you buy stuff using a stall. So you can just buy it straight up. It'll go into your inventory. You don't have to worry about paying that 2% fee. The player stall, by far, best way to make money. This is how I've made multiple millions. I know Rickness made like 10-something million. Scott and Potato have made millions. This is the end-all, be-all. So, how do you get a market stall? That's the tricky one. Market stalls, there's one up for auction every 3 days. So we'll go back over to that auction house and take a look at what the current one is. We go to the auction room. To see the stalls that are up for grabs, you go to the Rune Mage, and we see Market Stall 2 is currently up, and the bid is 225,000 Dram. That's actually pretty normal. I've seen stalls go up for 600,000. I've seen them sell probably as low as like 70K recently, but nowadays you're looking at 3 to 500K to get a stall. So be aware, if you don't have that much Dram, you're probably not going to get it. And the established sellers are willing to drop quite a bit of money because they make quite a bit of money. So there's only 10, so the prices are pretty high. So you're going to want to be using that auction house to get that money first. So that's how you sell things. What do you sell and how do you price them? That's another big one, right? If you've got like a whole bunch of Queen's Ear and you're like, I want to sell them. Look at that. Nobody's selling Queen's Ear. That's good. What you want is you want to sell things that nobody else is selling. Because at that point, if they want to buy it, they have to go to you. If you've got stuff like Obsidian is a pretty common one that people try to sell because they think it makes a ton of money. You've got, Kuranir selling it, Zalabro selling it, Mishka, Magebra, Saxomophomist. A whole bunch of people are selling Obsidian, which means that for the most part, we're all having to split that market, right? So that's not a good market to be in. I'm only there because at this point it's become a meme that I sell Obsidian and I'm this mob boss and everything, so whatever. You want to sell things that other people aren't selling that they could use. So Queen's Ear, probably not the best example because you can, sneeze and get Queen's Ear. You go right outside of High Step, there's Queen's Ear everywhere. Stuff that you do need for potions and whatnot that people aren't selling right now. Crown Foil. Nobody's selling Crown Foil, right? I'm going to put one up so that we see something so that when we switch, you can tell if there's anything there. What's another one that I know of? Let's go Phoenix Fish. Phoenix Fish is common for potions. There's none there. Cloakfish. Okay, there's some Cloakfish for sale. Clownfish. There's one person selling one. All right, and that's not on a stall. You'll know if it's a stall because it'll say 999 hours remaining. If it's 72 or less, it's on a auction house. So there's one person selling that. Let's see. Trying to think of what I mean. There's a bunch of stuff that people. Oh my god, yeah, that market is oversaturated. So that's not going to be selling well. Snake bits. Yeah, just Bucky selling it. Wilting Sun. Just that one person. Blood maces. Nobody selling blood maces. Plenty of people are selling that. Narwhal bait's not even a thing anymore. Yeah, if you go through and you find, I mean, this is just like the materials page, right? You've also got potions, you've got shards, you've got dye over here. If you get any overworld legendary drops, you can sell them here. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can sell. Yeah, these are all furniture items. If you find something that's not being sold, jump on it. Sour bells, right? Sour bells are needed for potions, and nobody's selling any. So that would be a great market to jump into. Now, what do you price them for? That's probably the trickiest thing to figure out in this game. What I do is I think, how easy is it to attain this item? And I go from there. So like for fish, right? Fish for the most part are pretty darn easy to catch, right? Sunfish, you can go outside and get them. So I price them low, about 300. Catfish are just as easy for me, but there is a lot of crossover with bass and minnow, so they're a little bit harder for a lot of people. So I put them a little bit higher at 350. Then you have legendary fish, right? So let's go down here, the Kylakin. Kylakin is a legendary. It only shows up at certain times and certain weather conditions. So they sell at about 1,000 each. Gelmarie is probably the hardest one to catch. That's selling at 2,000 a pop. So that's basically look at other items that are similar to it. So Queen's Ear is super easy to get, right? Just like Reed Flute. Is there anybody selling Reed Flute? No. Nobody's selling Sour Bells. Blue Moon Spore, those are pretty easy to get. Those are selling for 100 each, right? Or 150 each. So that would be a good thing to price off of. And the last thing to talk about now is probably the most controversial, undercutting people. Undercutting, getting into bid wars, stuff like that. You can try to undercut people, right? And lower the price by a little bit so that people go to you instead. That will not help you. And the reason I say that is because you're going to end up getting into a bidding war. If you undercut somebody, they'll then undercut you to try to get the market back. You undercut them, they undercut you. What ends up happening is you drive the price really, really low, and nobody's making money off of that. And then if it gets to a certain point, and I've done this before, where somebody tried to undercut me on stuff, so I undercut them, they undercut me, I undercut them. I got to the point where the item was just so ridiculously low that we ended up buying out their entire stock of stuff. Because at that point, we could just relist it and get like 5 times the amount that we bought it for. So if you want to sell something that somebody else is selling, I highly recommend that you match their price. So Obsidian is a good one, right? This guy's undercutting by 1 dram, but when you factor in the auction house fee, that comes out to a little bit more. So he's undercutting, but because of that fee, he's not undercutting. But like Zalabro and me, right? We agreed that Obsidian should be priced at about 1,000 each, and we're not going to undercut each other. Because if he undercuts me, I'm going to undercut him, and then we end up selling it for like 500 each, and we're just not making much money. If we sell for the same price, right, we're splitting the profits, and we're still making a good amount on each one. Cryogel, I did the same thing with Magebra. We started undercutting each other. Neither of us were making much money, and we just came to an agreement. Hey, let's match each other's price. We'll sell it for this much, right? And what we're trying to do when we match each other's price, we're trying to figure out what is low enough to where people will be able to afford it, but still enough to where we're making a good profit, right? So like Lenstanium, that's not a good example. Knight's Tier. Knight's Tier is super, super easy to get. You can get like 15 or so per run, but it's in an area with level 30 enemies. So it is, I set it at about 250 because that's low. That's a cheap price, right? You can buy several of those, but it is a little bit of a dangerous area, so people aren't as likely to go get it. Something like Obsidian. The respawn rate for Obsidian is pretty awful, and Obsidian is very, very common in tiles, which is in-game items. So the price on that is a bit higher. Fish is a great market. I cannot recommend fishing enough because people don't like to do it. So yeah, that's another legendary. So the price is going to be a little bit higher. Perch is going to be a little bit higher because that's legendary. Ridgeback, those are not legendaries. I'm not sure why the prices are so high on that. You could probably make a killing on Ridgeback, selling it like 300 to 400 per, because they are in the wastelands, which again, higher level area. There is a little bit more danger to it, but they're easy to catch. So you could sell, 300-400 per. Phoenix fish, nobody's selling Phoenix fish. I usually sell them at about 300, 350 because they're easy to catch. There is a little bit of crossover, but they're needed for a lot of potions. So to sum it all up, best way to make money, go out and farm. I'll show you the stuff that I've been farming so that I can sell it whenever I feel like it, so you get an idea. Lenstanium, if I ever decide to sell it, I've got a ton of it. Right? If I ever need to sell Glimmerings, I've got Glimmerings. Fish, I've got tons of fish, right? These legendaries over here. Like I said, I've got Ridgeback. I could sell that. I'm just not going to because I've got other stuff on the stall. If you want to make money, this is something that you're likely to do is farm a whole bunch of items and then sell it. Because when you've got that stall or you've got that auction house, you have to supply all the materials, so you have to have enough to actually sell. So to sum it up, trade with other people, find items that aren't being sold, and capitalize on that market, because you will make the money on that. Whether that's dye, whether that's ore, whether that's fish or alchemy materials. Find something that's not being sold on that auction house, right? Go to that auction house, click through, find the stuff that's not being sold or is being sold for a price that you think is just kind of ridiculous. Oh, there's no reed flute. Oh, there's no queens here. There's none of this. There's none of that. Start selling that stuff. You will make money. Just be aware it takes a little bit of time. As far as I know, as of this moment, there's no quick and easy way to get Dram. So trade, get on that auction house, get on that market stall, and I'm probably going to lose a bit of profit telling you guys this because I just told you how to make money, and that is directly getting in competition with me. But you know what? I'm all for it. So that's it. Make your dram. If you got any questions, let me know. If you got any recommendations for videos, also let me know. I am here to help. I am here to help out the community. That's what I do. So until then, happy hunting and have fun taking over the market.